In December of 18,000 BC, the human population dropped to 10,000 people. 10,000, that's smaller than a single football stadium. We were dying, the sun was disappearing, predators were closing in, and then our ancestors did something that changed everything. They created a ritual, a defense, a symbol of defiance against the darkness. We're still performing that ritual today. We call them Christmas lights, but that's not what they are. This is the story of how light saved humanity. December 21st. The winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Today, we barely notice. The sun sets a little earlier. We turn on our lights and go about our lives. But 10,000 years ago, this day wasn't just another date on the calendar. It was a countdown to extinction. Imagine being a human in the last ice age. No cities, no technology, no understanding of astronomy or planetary motion. All you know is this: every single day for the past 6 months, the sun has been setting earlier. The days are getting shorter, the nights are getting longer, and the cold is getting worse. You don't know why, you don't know when it will stop. For all you know, the sun is dying. The world is ending, and there's nothing you can do about it. The temperature has dropped to minus 40 degrees Celsius. Glaciers cover half of Europe. The animals you hunt have either migrated south or died. Your food stores are running low. Your shelter is barely keeping out the cold, and every night you can hear them. The wolves, the bears, the things with teeth that come when it's dark. Scientists now know that during the last glacial maximum, around 70,000 years ago, a supervolcano erupted and nearly wiped us out. The entire human population collapsed to somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 breeding individuals. We were an endangered species, one bad winter away from going extinct, like the Neanderthals. And the worst part, the darkest part of winter hadn't even arrived yet, because after the solstice comes the polar night, weeks where in northern regions the sun barely rises above the horizon, where darkness dominates for 20, sometimes 22 hours a day, where the line between day and night blurs into one endless twilight. This is when most deaths happened, not from the cold alone, but from what the cold and darkness brought with it. Let me tell you what darkness does to a human being. In the absence of sunlight, your body stops producing serotonin. Your brain's chemical balance collapses. Your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells you when to sleep, when to wake, when to eat, it breaks. Your immune system weakens. Your body starts shutting down non-essential functions to conserve energy. And then comes the psychological effects. Depression sets in. Not the kind you can push through, the kind that makes you stop caring whether you survive. Decision-making deteriorates. Paranoia increases. Communities that were united in summer turn on each other in winter. Ancient humans didn't have words for seasonal affective disorder, but they lived it. Every winter, entire communities would descend into what anthropologists now call survival depression, a state where your brain essentially gives up because it doesn't believe you'll make it. But there was something even more terrifying than the psychological effects, something that killed more people than cold or hunger ever did. Predators. In the darkness, humans weren't the apex predator. We were prey. Cave bears weighed 1,500 pounds. Saber-toothed cats had 11-inch fangs designed to pierce through thick hide and muscle. Dire wolves hunted in packs of 30 or more, and they all had one advantage over humans. They could see in the dark. We couldn't. Human eyesight is terrible compared to nocturnal predators. We evolved to hunt during the day, using our intelligence and endurance. But at night, we were blind, slow, and made of meat. And in winter, when food was scarce, predators became desperate. They started taking risks they wouldn't take in summer. They got closer to human settlements. They started testing defenses. And sometimes they attacked. Ancient cave paintings show humans surrounded by animal eyes in the darkness. Circles representing glowing predator eyes, watching from just beyond the firelight. Waiting. One mistake. One moment of carelessness. One night, where someone forgot to keep watch, and people died, dragged into the darkness, never seen again. The night wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a predator. And humans were losing until we discovered something that changed the entire trajectory of our species. Fire. Fire wasn't just a tool, it was a weapon, a shield, a psychological warfare device against everything that wanted to kill us. When humans learned to control fire, not just use it, but create it, maintain it, carry it, everything changed. We could cook food, making it safer and unlocking nutrients our bodies couldn't access from raw meat. We could stay warm through winters that should have killed us. We could forge tools, harden weapons, and shape the world around us. But the most important thing fire gave us: light. Light meant predators stayed away. Wolves won't cross a fire line. Bears avoid flames. Even insects, disease-carrying mosquitoes and parasites, stay out of smoke and heat. Fire created a barrier between us and everything that wanted to eat us. But it did something else. Something even more important. It gave us hope. When you're sitting in a cave in the middle of the longest night of the year, with darkness pressing in from all sides, wondering if the sun will ever return, fire becomes more than warmth. It becomes proof. Proof that light can exist even when the sun is gone. Proof that humans can create what nature takes away. Fire became sacred. Our ancestors didn't just use fire, they worshipped it. They built their entire societies around it. They created rituals to honor it, because if the fire went out, people died. Not metaphorically. Literally. Archaeologists have found evidence of ritual hearths dating back over 400,000 years. Ancient fire pits that were maintained continuously for decades, sometimes centuries, carefully tended, fed constantly, protected at all costs. These weren't cooking fires. They were survival fires, community fires, sacred fires, and they always burned brightest during the winter solstice. Because the solstice wasn't just the darkest day, it was the turning point. The promise that the sun would start coming back, that days would get longer again, that we survived. Every ancient culture on Earth, every single one, has a winter solstice ritual, and almost all of them center around one thing: light. The Norse burned Yule logs, massive oak logs, sometimes entire tree trunks, that were meant to burn for 12 days straight. As long as the log burned, the family was protected. The gods were pleased. The sun would return. If it went out early, it was a death omen. The Romans celebrated Saturnalia with candlers and bonfires. They lit up their homes and streets, filling the city with light in defiance of the darkness. It was a week-long festival where social norms were suspended, gifts were exchanged, and everyone, rich and poor, celebrated together. Because winter didn't care about your social status. It killed everyone equally. The Celts built enormous bonfires on hilltops during the winter solstice. Fires so large they could be seen for miles. A message to nearby communities: we're still here. We survived. And they would dance around those fires all night, refusing to let the darkness claim them. In ancient Persia, people celebrated Yalda night, the longest night of the year. Families gathered and stayed awake until sunrise, keeping fires and lamps burning, telling stories, eating pomegranates and nuts. To sleep was to surrender to darkness. To stay awake was an act of defiance. In China, the Dongzi festival marked the return of longer days. Families made offerings to ancestors, lit lanterns, and gathered for meals. The message was always the same: we honor those who survived before us, and we will survive too. Even early Christians, when Christianity spread through Europe, absorbed these traditions. The Bible never mentions Jesus being born in December. Most scholars believe he was born in spring. But when Christian missionaries encountered European pagan cultures, they found people who wouldn't give up their winter solstice celebrations. So the church adapted. Christmas was placed on December 25th. Absorbing the traditions of Saturnalia, Yule, and countless other light festivals. The theology changed. The rituals stayed the same. Advent, Candles, one lit each week leading up to Christmas. Menorahs during Hanukkah, the festival of lights, luminarias in the American Southwest. Diwali lamps in India, Kwanzaa candles representing 7 principles. Every single one of these traditions traces back to the same primal human need to push back the darkness. Fast forward to today. We live in a world that never gets dark. Electric lights everywhere. 24-hour cities, screens glowing in every pocket. We don't face predators. We don't worry about the sun not returning. We don't huddle in caves hoping to survive until spring. And yet, every December, we still light up our homes. We string lights across rooftops and wrap them around trees. We fill our windows with glowing decorations. We outline our houses in brilliant colors. Some people use hundreds of thousands of bulbs. Entire neighborhoods become tourist attractions. We drive 4 miles just to see the lights. Why? We tell ourselves it's tradition, that it's festive, that it makes us feel good. But that's not the full answer. The full answer is written in your DNA. For 10,000 years, 400 generations' life meant survival. It meant safety. It meant community. It meant we made it through another winter. Our ancestors who didn't value light, who let the fires go out, who didn't participate in the rituals, they died, and their genes died with them. The ones who survived were the ones who were obsessed with keeping the light alive, who felt anxiety when it got dark, who felt relief when the fires were lit, who gathered together around the light because alone in the dark meant death. You are descended from those people, the ones who refused to let the darkness win. Andeventug. 10,000 years have passed. Your body remembers. Studies show that people feel measurably calmer and safer in well-lit environments during winter months. Holiday lights reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone. They increase feelings of social connection and community. They boost mood and reduce symptoms of seasonal depression. This isn't placebo. This isn't nostalgia. This is biology. Your brain sees Christmas lights and recognizes them as the same signal your ancestors relied on for survival. There is light here. There are people here. We are safe. We are together. We survive. Christmas lights are the modern echo of an ancient ritual. A ritual that literally saved humanity from extinction. So the next time you see a house covered in lights, understand what you're really looking at. You're not looking at decoration. You're looking at 10,000 years of defiance, of humans looking into the void and saying, not today. We are the descendants of the people who kept the fires burning, who stayed awake through the longest nights, who gathered together when isolation meant death, who refused to surrender to the darkness. And every December, whether we realize it or not, we Onoratem, we light up the darkness, just like they did. Because we're still here. We survived, and the light still burns.